Hey there, good morning. Tim from Alpha Wolf Trading coming at you with this morning's pre-market prep, something I do for the pro members every single day over at Alpha Wolf Trading. And want to just go ahead. So I've got to use my FinViz Elite this morning as opposed to my TC2000, which is down, but that's okay. That's all right. We're going to go ahead and take a look at some stocks to watch for this morning. Markets have been, a little bit choppy. I mean, we've had some decent action. There have been some trading opportunities out there, but you got to catch them really early off the open. There's just not a lot of follow through. We are, for several of the indexes and sectors, we are bumping up against potential moving average resistance or sitting just on top of moving average support. We've got short-term trend lines that we're bumping up against. So market's choppy, a little bit choppy as earnings season gets started. Earnings looking good. Not seeing a lot of follow through though from stocks, the companies that are reporting good earnings. So interesting stuff happening here. We'll see what next week brings as we really start to get into full blown earnings season. But for right now, let's take a look at some stocks to watch for today. So AAOI had a nice little pop yesterday. It's flagging out here right on top of uh, moving average. Nice little flag here, as you can see. Got a little bit of a pop. There is a huge short interest in this name, about 70 plus percent in AAOI. Communications equipment space been hit pretty bad on the um, ZTE um, ruling from the U.S. and that space has gotten hit pretty good. Um, AAOI, not a lot of exposure to ZTE, and there is some speculation because of this action that has been taken that there could be some consolidating within that space. So I think it's an interesting play. It's a small float. You don't want to chase it. Look for an intraday setup, but this thing could get a little wacky. It's got a big gap to fill on the daily. It could get a little wacky because of that small float and that huge short interest. So worth keeping an eye on AAOI. GE, full disclosure, I own it. I've started building a long-term hold position. Reported earnings this morning, which were better than expected. New CEO, couple of kitchen sink quarters behind them. Do I think GE is going out of business? I don't. I think GE, you're going to look back at this time, a few years from now and go, boy, that was really a good opportunity to pick up some GE. Why didn't I buy it? So, long term hold play, big, thick stock, thick float. It is gapping up this morning. No reason to chase the gap, I don't feel. Could there be a day trade or a scalp opportunity there? There could be. Like I said, it trades really thick. It's testing this long-term trend line. We're breaking above it, and it really looks as though close to $13, has been acting as support. And if you go back on a longer-term time frame, you can see that there is support there at that area. So, could this be the turnaround? Possibly. Do you have to jump into it today? I don't think so. I think maybe you can wait and see if we get a retest of that $13 level as support, and that could be a good spot to take a position or start building a position at $13. But it is gapping up a little bit this morning, up to about $14.75, and there could be some resistance there. So but it's worth having GE on your radar for a potential long-term investment or longer term swing, not necessarily a day trading opportunity. HEAR, full disclosure, I own it. I own it pre-split at around 47 cents. It's had a huge move. I sold off. I had it in actually three of my accounts, so uh, still have a position in it, and it's been pretty wild after this reverse split. They just raised guidance. They had some news after the close, gave it a little boost, but the news is actually not that significant, right? It's not. I don't think it's a material event for HEAR doesn't mean that it can't get some action today. So it could be a trading opportunity, scalp opportunity. I actually have a limit sell in place on the stock. Uh, we'll see. I mean, it's a small float now, super thin. It's had big runs in the past. And actually, I do feel as though the company has turned the corner. They got rid of a cash burning division, and now they can kind of focus on what they do best. And I think it's worth at least keeping an eye on it. It is kind of consolidating here over $4. I mean, it's kind of consolidating over $4. $4 seems to be acting as an area of potential support. So worth keeping an eye on this one. Play it size appropriate, and it could be a day trade. I think it could be actually an interesting swing too on a pullback into the or long-term hold consideration on a pullback into $3.53 area. HMNY. So look, it's an interesting, compelling story, right? We actually played this one last week, and we sold out the last of the shares after they announced the public offering. Great trade, and it's priced at 275. It's pulled back. It pulled back to $2.12 yesterday, and we're sitting at about 255 right now. This could be, it might need time to base out a little bit, but there is big short interest here. Is a smaller float, and the story is somewhat compelling. They're burning through a lot of cash, but there could be a trading opportunity in this thing. See if $2 holds as support, and as if you get another pullback into the $2.12 area, maybe we look to see if that gives us a little bounce for a quick scalp. It did bounce off of 212 back up into the 260 area, and you can see the same thing maybe today. But HMNY, just a quick day trading opportunity. You got to play that one size appropriate as well. LLNW broke over this trend line here. $4 seems to be acting as support. I think it got up to about $4.70 last night after reporting better than expected earnings and raising guidance. I like LLNW. I think more as a swing on a pullback to the $4 area. I would be inclined maybe to take a position there and hold it for a little bit. Like I said, good guidance and good earnings. You take out the 450 area with conviction. I think maybe you get a 5 test and maybe more. I mean, worth keeping an eye on LLNW, more for a swing for me, but could be looking just for a day trading opportunity there too. NTEC, Mark Cohodes announced long-term long in the stock yesterday. They just did an offering, right? Priced at $5.25 yesterday off of a tweet. It popped up and almost tested this trend line here. Almost tested that trend line and pulled back to $5.25. I think $5.25 area in this area could be an interesting spot for a swing. Could be a day trading opportunity. It's got let me see, what do we got here? It's got a small float, and there is a gap to fill on the daily. So kind of interesting potential day trading opportunity. Maybe it's a swing. It's a biotech stock, so you got to be a little careful with the biotechs. We all know what can happen there, but I think it's worth having on your radar for a trading opportunity. SMMT had some news this morning. The stock does not appear to be doing anything in pre-market. Let me just reaffirm that here. SMMT. Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot of action in pre-market, but it does have an interesting look on the daily. You got a little pattern here, little flag pattern here, right below $14. Small float. These guys could stand to raise some capital, so maybe a day trading opportunity. I don't think I would hold it overnight, but worth keeping an eye on. SMMT for a trade. Tusk. So full disclosure, I still have some shares of Tusk. I actually sold some shares yesterday morning at $33 I've been in the stock from 21, and I still have some shares that I'm holding on to. But Puerto Rico, the power outage, one of their subcontractors responsible for that, and I think there's going to be some scrutiny headed their way. But I still like the stock for a long-term hold consideration. Uh, on a pullback, areas that I've identified are 28.50 or so. We got down to about 29 and change yesterday. This could actually be a day trade or a swing long-term hold consideration if this really pulls back. Where I would really love to get it is back at $21. I'd love to see it pull back to this trend line in the $21 range. 28.50 could be an area of support. $25 could be an area of support. I think this is a very interesting story and not a very followed name. So, not a lot of Wall Street coverage on this name. It's had a tremendous run already, hence why I did take some profits off the table yesterday. But still like the stock, and if it gets down into the $25, $21 area, I will be adding back to that position. And like I said, if we pull back to the $29 area, 28.50, that could act as a bounce spot. You could get a nice little scalp out of it. Yesterday, it got down to about 28.50 and then bounced back up into the $31 area. That's a pretty nice little bounce. It's a thin stock, so keep that in mind. Make sure you got plenty of liquidity, plenty of volume. If you're just looking to scalp it, make sure you're going to be able to get in and out. Trade it size appropriate. Twitter upgrade this morning with a $40 price target. Nice pop yesterday. Nice little kind of formation here on the daily time frame. I think it's getting a little bit of action in pre-market. Look, this is a thicker stock. You don't have to, you don't have to chase this. Look for a good, clean intraday setup. I think it's more of a swing than it is a day trade, but sometimes, it's got some decent range for the day, so it could be a day trading opportunity as well. VHC. Look, these guys got awarded. Nice. It was a beautiful headline. $500 million from Apple. Look, I have really good experience. Well, not necessarily good, but I have experience with these patent companies. And, what I found interesting about this stock is they got this news. It gapped up to about $6 actually in pre-market. People chasing it, and then look what happened. It was just a waterfall because, yes, it was a nice headline, but, until they get that money, until it actually hits the bank, it really doesn't mean a whole lot, right? Because you got to see the money. I mean, they could drag this out in court for the next, who knows, 10 years. But what I thought was interesting was the way that the stock reacted. It popped up in pre-market, so you had a lot of people who were chasing it at 6 or whatever, and they got punished. Now, this thing sat for 2 months in this $4 area, and it sat for nearly 2 months in that area. And then I think we've overshot on the downside, and it's at an area of potential support, $3 in change. I think this is an interesting long-term hold support area, and I think this is overdone. I think we could see a little bounce here in VHC. Full disclosure, I do have a position of it in this area, right in this area, and I'm looking for a bounce. I think maybe we can get back up and test that $4 area. So VXRT just had some news hit that came out on my Benzinga Pro here, and this is a super thin stock. I don't think it's doing anything. Let me just make sure here. VXRT. Actually, it did. It looks like it got up to about $6.80. It's pulled back to it's the low of 6, and now it's getting a little bit of a bounce again. Now these guys do look like they could stand to raise some capital. So, super thin stock. Play it size appropriate if you decide to play it at all. Do not chase it, and that's it. So that's on my list of stocks to watch so far this morning. You're more than welcome to join us over at Join Me for our live open mic chat. You don't have to talk. You don't have to share your trade ideas, but you're more than welcome to join us for Free Friday at the link that's on the page here. And that's it. That's it. Look, it could be a choppy day, like I said, but there's likely going to be some trading opportunities out there. So good luck trading. Make sure you have a plan for each and every trade. Know your risk reward. And that's it. I'll see you this weekend with the list of stocks to watch for next week. Good luck trading today. Have a fantastic day.